Hey everybody, Kevin here from ChangeWorks Interactive. Welcome back today. As you probably know, I'm a registered psychotherapist from ChangeWorks, and we're very lucky today to have Lyanne Goulin join us for the show. Let me tell you about Lyanne. She is the Vice President with MakeAWish Canada, and what she does is she helps develop strategies and plans for their wish granting program, and she ensures that every kid that's eligible in the country gets a shot at having a wish. She's been involved with the organization for almost 20 years, and get this, she has been involved with granting wishes to approximately 20,000 kids with her time in the organization. She is married to Matt, who's an awesome guy. She has two super fantastic kids. Abby, the super wonderful, is 9, and Maddie, the incredible, is 12. And they love the outdoors. They spend a lot of time at their cottage, and I would consider Lyanne a maple syrup professional. So, Lyanne, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Great, great. I wanted to ask you right off the bat, just maybe if you can let our viewers know a little bit more about Make-A-Wish and how these wishes get granted for kids. How does that happen? What's the process around that?
Yeah, so we are the world's leading children wish granting organization. So we were founded about just over 40 years ago. And it started with a little boy in Phoenix who was 7, who wanted to be a police officer for a day, which is cool, right?
Yeah.
And a bunch of people got together, his mom and some people in the community, and they made that happen for him. And just sort of started this groundswell of, people thinking, wow, there's more kids who need wishes like this. So, fast forward 40 years later, Make-A-Wish has granted 500,000 wishes around the world. We've got affiliates in 39 places, serving 50 countries all over the world. And here we are in Canada. We've granted 35,000 wishes, and they happen one wish at a time. So kids are, referred to us either by the family themselves, or somebody on their medical team. And we have a process where we work with our medical advisory committee who works through determining, which kids qualify for a wish. And then once a kid is deemed eligible, that's where the magic happens, right? So we have a team of staff and volunteers who work with the family and the wish kid to say, what is it that you want? What is it that you're hoping for in a wish? And how can we work with you to make that happen? And we're, I always say we're about rainbows and unicorns. Our job is to make the impossible happen. And that's what we do, one wish at a time for all these special kids.
That is so cool. That's so cool. And if you really want to get a taste of that, check out the website, check out the Make-A-Wish website, and you'll see some testimonials on there from kids and families that are really, really inspiring for sure. Lyanne, how have you guys been coping with the pandemic as an organization? I imagine it's been pretty tough on you guys.
Yeah. Funny that your company's called ChangeWorks. The word change and pivot and, reinventing and reemerging, that's what we've been doing for the last year. This hit us. Yeah. Like it's, I think everybody around the world has been impacted in some way by this, but as a wish granting organization that services kids and grants wishes, we've been so deeply hit by this. So up until the pandemic, 70% of the wishes that we granted every year were for travel wishes. As you can imagine, places like Disney World and Disney cruises and all of that kind of stuff, right? That was our bread and butter. That's what we did. And in the blink of an eye, that stopped.
Yeah.
We haven't sent any kids on any trips in what is now 15 months. So we've had to make a significant change. And so, not only can we not send kids on travel wishes, but even how we deliver our other types of wishes, we call them I wish to have wishes. So they're wishes for things and for items. We used to be able to, meet with families and do these super fun wish reveals and parties. And even that can't be done because, we're dealing with immune compromised kids and we can't have people face to face with them. So we've really had to shift and pivot, these words we hear all the time, to working with families virtually to try to still sort of create magical things. And then, the additional challenge, and you've seen this with industries around the world being impacted by COVID as well, is even the availability of the things that our kids want, or the costs related to the things that our kids want, have been impacted by COVID as well, right? But at the same time, as challenging as it's been, I think we were able to pivot and reinvent ourselves pretty quickly. And we still, over the last year, granted about 1,000 wishes to kids, which is pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So that's a perfect lead into, what would be an example of some of those really cool types of wishes that kids would request? Or do you guys sometimes say, hey, you know what, this came up and I think you would love this, or your family would love this, and share with us some of those really special wishes that you've been able to grant?
Yeah, so we would never drive that. It's all we talk about getting to the heart of the wish. So it's really talking to kids about, some families and some kids come to us and they know exactly what they want. And with other kids, you need to do a pretty deep dive to get, what are they into? What types of things would they benefit from? And there's always, as I said, pre-pandemic, things like Disney were the most popular. And of course, there are things that are really popular now. We're doing things like staycations. Trailer wishes are popular for us, and gaming computers, but there have been some really cool and unique ones pre-pandemic, but especially during the pandemic. So some cool stuff that we've done is we've got a girl from Saskatchewan who wanted a barrel racing saddle and tack, which is pretty cool. Got kids who wanted DJ equipment. You mentioned our website earlier. You might have seen it. There's a kid who's got a telescope that she got that's bigger than her entire body, which is pretty cool. We did a wish for a kid from Quebec who wants to be an egg farmer, and we got him a mobile chicken coop, which is pretty cool. So he's got a chicken coop that's in a trailer that he can move around and move his chickens around. And one of my personal favorites, you touched on maple syrup. We've even granted a wish during the pandemic for a kid who wanted a sugar shack in New Brunswick.
Wow.
So so working on a sugar shack for him. And on a personal note, I've made an agreement with this wish kid that we're going to exchange a bottle of syrup next year. So I'll get one of his, which I'm sure will be better than mine, but really cool. So you just see that, that's what it's about, getting to the heart of the wish. So what are these kids into? You're into chickens, you're into maple syrup, you're into gaming computers. We can make that happen for you.
Very fun, very fun. There must have been some celebrities also that are involved in some capacity as well.
Yeah, for sure. We do quite a few celebrity wishes, fewer obviously during the pandemic because there have been limitations in terms of what we can do, but we do some of those virtually even during the pandemic. Some of those for privacy reasons we can't share, but there's a big pop star, for example, who met with one of our wish kids who just adored her, and they did some pretty cool stuff. Usually those types of things would happen face to face, sort of, if you're thinking about a musician backstage before a concert kind of thing. So this one, for example, had a bit of a different twist, but the kid is into the celebrity and also into baking. So they each baked cupcakes and decorated cupcakes for each other. And it was really cool. At the end of the story, the cupcakes they made for each other looked really similar. And of course, we've done some wishes for, sports stars are big for kids. The Leafs, for example, helped us out with a couple of wishes during the pandemic. So yeah, definitely lots of cool celebrity wishes that we're doing. And again, those are like, you never know what the trend is going to be. Right? Sports stars have always been around as celebrities and pop stars, but then you never know what's going to be cool with, cool and popular with our wish kids. So, and we grant wishes for kids like 3 to 17, right? So think about the things that you were into when you were 3 versus when you were 17. There's a big range of differences.
Yeah, for sure. Let me switch gears on you just a little bit, Lyanne. This is a show about, personal, professional change. And I just wanted to know, you're working with families and you're working with kids, and you're saying that, in a lot of ways they're medically compromised, right? And sometimes things don't turn out right? Like, kids pass away or you're dealing with loss. How do you handle that yourself, or how does your organization handle that yourself? Do you sort of consciously separate yourself from those things that you see, or how do you deal with that?
It's definitely, it can be heavy. You know, I think people hear about the work that we do and think that it's all, you know, sunshine and roses, and mostly it is, but there is a definite heavy sort of mental and emotional impact. As much as we're granting like 1,000 wishes a year, we're connecting with all of these families in the most difficult moments in their lives, right? And some of our kids sadly don't make it. You know, it is heavy for myself. It's heavy for our staff. We cry at work sometimes. It's just, you know, it is what we do. I think our approach to it all is that, you know, the work that Make-A-Wish does, we don't heal kids. We're not medical professionals. We can't heal kids, but we do some amazing stuff that can impact kids and their families in a really, really positive way and bring some happiness in some really, really challenging times. And we see the benefit of the work that we do. You know, we hear from medical professionals that sometimes a wish granted right at the right moment can turn things around for kids, right? Can have them, you know, better follow their treatment protocols and stuff. So it's not just a nice to have, it's a really cool thing to have. But at the same time, we realize, sadly, you know, some of our kids do pass, but we like to think, you know, where we come along at the right moment in time with that journey for Wish families is we can still do something for those kids that are going to impact them and their families in a way that they're going to remember forever.
Yeah.
Right. And we've got families that have been friends of our organization for 20 years. And we have, you know, Wish kids, there are kids who were Wish kids 20 years ago who've grown up, and they are, you know, knock on wood, happy, healthy adults with kids of their own these days who are volunteering with us or supporting us. So there's a, you know, a lifelong impact to those wishes. So definitely, is there a sad part? Absolutely. But, you know, we're about bringing joy and magic wherever we can, and understanding what our role is in sort of that journey for Wish kids and their families.
Yeah, that's great. And what a network of people. You think about all of those people and the impact that they also have on spreading the message as well. And we'll get to that at the end of the show today too, Lyanne, if people want to reach out or be in touch about how they would do that. I'm going to change gears on you again. I know your background. You're an athlete. You're going to school at Guelph. You're studying kin. How do you ever get involved with Make-A-Wish? How did that happen for you?
Well, doesn't that just seem like a natural transition? I actually didn't study kin. I didn't study kin, an even bigger stretch. I studied nutritional science. You know, I was an athlete, went through school, studied the sciences. After university, I did a post-grad in health promotion.
Okay.
And sort of was going down that route more on a sort of corporate health promotion side of things. I worked for a few corporations running their wellness programs and their health promotion programs. It was interesting. I got to a point doing that sort of thing where I was speaking about work-life balance and the importance of mental health and all that kind of stuff. And none of that was happening personally with me. So I was working 70-hour weeks telling people about how important work-life balance and healthy, you know, practices were, and I wasn't living it. And so I kind of looked more broadly and sort of you know, found out about this role. It was a different role way back then, you know, almost 20 years ago, but just sort of seemed like a natural fit despite my background. This was about, you know, impacting lives and changing lives. I don't think going into school, I ever would have anticipated working for a charity, but it just really felt like the right fit. And so I sort of explored the options and talked through it, and was fortunate enough to get the job. And here I am almost 20 years and 20,000 wishes later, where it was just a bit of a switch and it's just felt right. And it's, you know, I talk about my job with people all the time. You know, I go to, you know, when we can hang out with people, you know, I'm at parties with my husband or something, and people ask what he does, and it's boring because he's in consulting. And then people ask me what I do, and it's just, you know, it's such a special thing that I'm blessed with the ability to get to come to work and do every day. So, you know, not what I thought it would be, but once I found it, it just, you know, it's such a perfect fit. And it's about, you know, making a difference in people's lives, and not what I wanted to do when I grew up, and certainly not when I was studying nutritional science at the University of Guelph. But, you know, we never know where we're going to end up, and, you know, life's a journey, and this is where I landed.
Right. That's right. If a young person wanted to get into working with nonprofits or doing something similar to what you're doing, what would you advise them to study, take a look at, maybe some of the things that they could do practically that would set them up for success in this world?
Yeah, I think I'm a perfect example of somebody who didn't study what I ended up doing, right? So I think, but I think, you know, going through your studies, whatever it is, you're learning you're learning things about time management, about planning and all that kind of stuff, depending on what you want to do. I would say the biggest thing is, you know, figure out what your passions are. Organizations like ours are always looking for volunteers. And we have, you know, volunteers that we work with, you know, for a moment in time who might help us out with an event. And we have volunteers who've been working with us for 20 years. And I think it's a really, really great way, regardless of what your passion is. There's something like somewhere between 80 and 160,000 registered charities in the country. So if there's something that you're passionate about, there's a charity that exists that does it, and guaranteed that charity is looking for help from somebody who's passionate about the work and who's got the skills to deliver the work, right? And so I think that's, you know, we get calls all the time from people who want to support us in some way, or think, this might be something I'm interested in doing, but I'm not sure. So I think it's a great way to, you know, from a personal development standpoint, to get some volunteer experience, to see what's doing. And it's sort of a way to test the waters of like, is this really something that, you know, I want to do when I grow up, kind of thing. But yeah, I would say that's the best way. Reach out to people, network with people, meet with people, and offer to help.
Perfect. Now, if somebody's watching this and they want to find out a little bit more information, or they want to know how they can help, what do you recommend?
Go to our website. Everything that you need is on our website, MakeAWish.ca. You'll get to see some cool wish stories. There's a really great story on there now for a little girl named Bella from Saskatchewan that, you know, bring your tissues and your smile at the same time. You'll get a sense of the types of wishes that we're doing, but you can get information and we've got offices across the country, so you can get contact information for any of our offices, whether you want to support us, you know, sort of as a donor or as a volunteer. We post all of our job postings and everything on there, but that's sort of your one-stop shop for everything that you're looking for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Lyanne, thanks so much for joining us today on the show. Really appreciate it. You know, your passion is obvious about helping families and helping kids. And I think that's just great. And just a reminder for our viewers that are watching today, if you're having difficulty in your personal or your professional life, and you want to give me a call to be in touch, that I can help you with that, whether you're looking at some work options or whether you're looking at, you know, just making some changes in your life, please be in touch. Same thing, check out that website at MakeAWish, and maybe you'll get a chance to speak directly with Lyanne. Lyanne, thanks again for being on the show today. And enjoy the beautiful weather that we're having, maybe for a day or two.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Okay, take care. Bye now.
Cheers. Bye.